Hello, and welcome to Plebpla. Today, the very unusual and interesting Super MiniPla Chodenji Robo Combattler V. This is my first Super MiniPla set. I'm going to take a look around the box here slowly, because the first time I saw the line come out, the first time that I saw it was about the time that Build Divers the First was happening on television, or YouTube, I guess. I'm gonna have to lean this camera back, expose myself. I don't know. Because this box is very large. This box is actually intended for like convention and store shelves, and I'll get into that in just a bit. But the first time I saw the MiniPla line was when Build Divers was going on, and you had the 5 SD Gundams, which included, I think, a new and a Sazabi, and then a couple of others, and all of those combined into one larger, kind of goofier looking robot, and that can be seen in the show. But since then, they've got a lot of other series. There's several, what do I know, Zabungle sets. There's a set now for Ninja Senshi Tobikage, which, if you're watching my Super Robot Wars Let's Play, you know that that's kind of my jam, because ninjas. There's sets for Gal Gaigar, and I think one for Dan Kuga. And as soon as they announced Combattler V, my favorite of the 3 robot romance sets, or units, robots, it was mine. I had to buy it. Unfortunately, this came at a hefty $70 price tag, not including shipping, from Hobby Search, because that is my personal preferred domain to acquire all of my gunpla, my model kits, etc. I'm not sponsored. I don't have a sponsorship here. I'm too low tier. But with your help, I can get up higher. I digress. You can kind of see along here the perforated edge, where you could take this, set it up on a table at a convention, rip these out, and you would have your 4 boxes set in here. Unfortunately, I think it's not a good sale for individual sets, because there's a lot going on here. You have your 5 bots from the show, and then it comes with a lot of accessories scattered around only 4 boxes. And it's only 4 boxes. It's only the 4 boxes. Now you can see on here, where did my 5th box go? Excuse me. You have set 1, which includes Battle Jet and Battle Craft, as well as the head and the ankle parts. Set 2 includes the Battle Crasher, along with the swords. I can't remember what they're called. I watched the show like 5-6 years ago, and an assortment of hands. Set 3 is Battle Tank, which also comes with a few transformation parts, as well as the Chodenji Yo-Yo and effect parts. And then set 4 comes with Battle Marine and a few other assorted connection parts for the transformation. Moving that aside, because I just put the boxes, we have Battle Jet, Battle Crusher, Battle Tank, Battle Marine, and Battlecraft, which sounds like a video game unto itself. Here we have a broken down of the boxes it comes in. Each one is labeled 1 through 4, so you know exactly what you're getting inside of them. If you go to a convention and you bought set 1 and 2, or you went to a candy store somewhere in Japan, you can go try to find set 1 and 3 and 4, whichever ones you need. And here's on the back here, so this shows you what each set comes with. And then here are the names of the machines, if you cannot remember, because this show was made like 2 years after Mazinger. It's your grandpa's super robots. As well as the Super MiniPla logo. Brought to us by Bandai in the year of our Lord, 2019. Literally, this came out at the end of December, and it showed up January 4th for me. January 3rd, but I missed the mail, so I had to go and pick it up from the post office. Now, what you get is the 5 machines, and as said and seen, a bunch of extra parts. A pile of parts. As well as each box comes with a piece of gum. Now, the Queen of Space and I had this dialogue in the unboxing where they would set these kind of boxes, and a lot of older, and even, I guess, maybe a few modern blind boxes are sold in the candy aisle, because that is where I see that I might have made a construction error with something. I sure as hell did. Some of this stuff is backwards. Oh dear. I've made a mistake here. This and this. I've done a foul. I'll have to find some means of correcting that at a later date. But as I was saying, you could buy these kind of blind boxes up with the rest of the candy, because technically you could sell it as a food product. You're buying candy, you're buying this piece of gum, and this is a bonus. Which kind of ties into how back when we were children, back when I was a child, I suppose, you could buy a pack of baseball, football, basketball cards at next to the checkout stand with the rest of the gum and candy, because there's a stick of bland-ass, like, super dried preserved gum in the pack, and the cards are the bonus. You're selling a food product with a toy. Like buying a box of cereal. You're selling a food product with the prize inside, which is a shame they don't do that anymore, but I guess choking hazards and whatever. So here is our 5 boys and girl, 4 boys and a girl, and an assortment of items. You've got very sharp, pointy effect parts, which are more like familiar with, like SH Figart stuff, or Totobukiya's sharp, pointy bits, or even the beam effect part set from the model kits. You've got a nice little gimmick here, where in the show you will see every now and again, sometimes everyone's got to go, like go, 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 but not everyone can get there fast enough. Like even Battle Marine can cheat and fly, so they would have Battle Marine carry the battle tank, you know, kind of like picking itself up there. So those are all that those parts used for, and I appreciate that that's, you know, a thing. There's swappable leg parts for later. These will also probably come in handy for a second mode. Have several hands. You've got several hands. You've got your 2 closed fists. You've got 2 open hands, which are great for holding these swords. And each one has a little plug in there, so you can get that going. As well as these weird, like, almost, you know, cannon bullet style hands. Very much reminiscent to the Goof's hands. And your effect parts will plug into the hand. And effect parts can also plug into other effect parts. And then your Chodenji Yo-Yo will plug in right there. So you've got this, and you can pose that If you stack them right, you can go at least 3 deep. Unfortunately, you can't go 4 because that's a hook there. But it also has, let me take this apart, an optional little yellow piece, simple effect part. That's probably going to be better for this hand here. Maybe. No, I think we got to go with the flat hand. I'm having a hard time actually getting it in there, which is the sad part. You'll take that, and then you can slide your yo-yo right into there. Or I guess the other hand is the right hand. Whatever. It doesn't want to go. There you go, more or less. You're holding. You've got a way of holding it now, and that's all that's about. It just slides right into the side there. Nothing special, nothing fancy. Put that aside. So we've got the hands. We've got some transformation bits, some landing gear. Excuse me. More landing gear because there's a second cruising mode. That's what all those tank droids are for. The leg joints. There's another connection part. These are ankle pieces that will replace another unit when we get to the transformation. The 2 swords, which you can hold them single or double. They combine. And then very specifically, the head. Because Battle Jet becomes the head, but there's only so much you can do. Moving that aside, the Battle Jet does absolutely nothing. I appreciate that it comes with some landing gear, so it's not just laying flat on a surface. That goes like that. The Battle Crasher here has a very... Like, this is part of the transformation gimmick, but it's so enthralling that I appreciate how simple and clean it is. Just a little rotation. Pull the chest out and rotate it up. And look, this is coming from a blind box, not even capsule toy, just a blind box toy. And it has that level of consideration for its own transformation, which is something that I would like to hope that the Master Grade Double Zeta uses. Over here, we've got Battle Marine, who does a whole lot of nothing, so we're going to get that out of there. And I will cut back at a later juncture having fixed the situation, because these are supposed to be on the outside. Uh-oh. Disconnecting the legs by accident. Go over there, stop it. In here I have buried these claws here. Uh-oh. These claws here are articulated, and you can pull them out. See, there's a little polycap plug right there. We'll plug that in, and you can take this side here, plug that back in its place, and you have a jointed, articulated clamp. Give them the clamps. And then lastly, Battlecraft. Doesn't do much, but it does have these drills, and you can see I've kind of got my thumb on this little silver tab here that will, with effort and gusto, withdraw the drills. Or sometimes you just have to push them down. They don't go all the way back in, which is, I guess, a shame. Maybe not. I don't know. So before we get into the big transformation, I want to say something about the quality of this plastic. It's very interesting. It is a much thicker and yet softer plastic than what we're used to with our, gunpla and our other models. Like, you can feel it is more of a toy-like quality. Like, for someone my age, it feels like older action figures, and not even like G.I. Joe quality. We're talking about like the dollar store kind of knockoff or what would have been, what was it called back then? I can't remember. They're way back in the 80s. The name's on tip of my tongue. Way back on the 80s, a lot of old mecha anime got licensed into a toy line here in the States, which included stuff like Writing, Get a Robo, Mazinger. There's a bunch of weird stuff in there. Shogun Heroes, I think it was. Something to that effect. And it feels like it would have been that old classic, like, brand 3 third tier toy. Like, the toys aren't bad, but you can feel that they've got a cheap manufacture going on. And then each one of these somewhere, and it like really ticked me off as I was assembling it, because I remember seeing it on several of them, but now that I'm looking for them up close, I'm not seeing that they're like visible, because I was kind of getting like ticked about it. And on each one of these, somewhere on these pieces of plastic, you can see "Made in China" printed, like printed on the plastic. But now that I'm looking for it, it's wild that they're hidden. I did not expect that. That's genuinely blowing my mind right now, because I was going to show that off. I was thinking about, man, I got to show this off. This is a complaint. This is a problem. But then here I am, foot and mouth syndrome, where you actually can't see it anywhere. And that's like, fucking, that's a face turn. Okay, but we have one more thing to talk about before we go into the fast forward and the combination. We have the instructions. Set 1 comes with 2 sets of instructions, and they come folded up like this. Oh, unfold. And they come like this big sheet of paper. Now, I'm not going to go over it like I would normal stuff. I'll kind of scan over nice and slow so you can get a look at what's going on. But it's very simple, regular ass paper, double-sided, that goes over assembly instructions, as well as a little bit of details when it comes to transforming everything together. Set 1 comes with, obviously, set 1, but also comes with the final instruction for Combattler V, wherein you'd have to have the other 3 sets to put everything together. Like, there's smashing everyone together. There's taking things apart to make it look more like, oh, you actually did the thing even though you didn't. And then on the back here is the other move, the Grand Dasher, where you take several pieces off and put a few other pieces on. That's where those other landing gear and these other side bits go. So that's the one box. Only one box comes with a set of master instructions. When we unbox it, I thought each set would come with master instructions in case, you know, you get box 2. That way you always got a set of masters. Set 2 over here, we're going to scan over that manual real quick. Give a little drive-by. And like the plastic is like really thick and firm. It feels like a thicker ABS, I guess, polystyrene. I really don't know much about plastics, even though I talk and think and act like I do. But it's the kind of plastic where it gives you a lot of resistance, and you have to put a lot of effort into doing what you're trying to do, and you feel like you're gonna break something off, but you actually won't. Like, that plastic is sturdy. I have, in all of this red, in all of this candy red, this plastic red, nothing is stressed except for when I was like cutting stuff. That is the only time I ever had stress on anything, and then, you know, the cleanup, the sanding, the god hands got rid of that. So here's set number 3 here, which is, you know, the battle crasher or the battle tank, and a lot of, you know, assembly of the internal body, which hides within all the stuff. So then once you put it all together, it even gives you like the basic instructions on what parts you need to take on and put off in order to get to full assembly, which I'm kind of running without doing, but we'll see if I can't do it just based on memory of construction and kind of knowing my combattler, my Super Electromagnetic Robo Combattler V. And this is the final assembly where I got mixed up, because I was building left and right at the same time, but then I guess I got like scrambled somewhere in there. So I will fix this problem hopefully, because it's like not easy to take apart. And see that you combine the two. And of course, as several parts will be left off, that's why I've, you know, gotten a hold of my own plastic bag. So we'll be back, and this will be nice and sorted out. This will be fixed appropriately, and then we will get into combattler construction. And here we go. Chodenji Robo Combattler V. Super Electromagnetic Robo. Now, for this big boy, whom Gramps isn't anywhere nearby. So we're gonna grab Grandpa Jim Sniper. And as a size comparison, this is your standard high grade. I don't want to take him out of his action pose. He only comes waist high. Now, I guess technically speaking, I'd have to go and find, you know, semantics manual, but I have an old mechanics model, or whatever they call it, of writing up on my shelf that away, and that I think was considered a 1/300 scale, so I imagine that this is maybe a 255 scale. I'm pretty sure writing is supposed to be bigger than Combattler V. And Die Turn 3 is like one of the freaking largest out there. Until you get into like the crazy stuff like Gurren Lagann and Ideon and wild stuff. Getter Emperor, whatever. Now, the all-important part. We've seen the elbows. We've seen the arms. You actually get a full squeeze here. This is where I say that the plastic is very stiff and it feels like you might damage it. Because here's the shoulder up here. And you have to like get in there, but it's very, very firm. We get full armband that high, it won't go any higher. And full rotation. You can feel a bit of, what is it called? Like, the segmenting, the, like, because it's a circle peg and a hexagonal hole. So you get a bit of, like, locking in. So you're sure that your guy's going to stick. The head will give us the full exorcist twist. And it's not too hard to pull back out. I was afraid that it was going to be very difficult to pull out. There is no waist articulation to be expected. The skirts up front do move. That way, let's see about... That's a leggy boy, and that's a good front kick. Oh, look, even higher. Then at the knees, we get more than 90 degrees. And I want to show you back here. See this piece of plastic here, so it's all solid. You see that recess? That'll recess right in there. But that's all the oh wow. Wow, that's wild. I like that. I appreciate that a lot. And that's got that ratcheting. That's the term I wanted, ratcheting. Down here at the feet, you have a front movement here. I'm gonna bend this other leg back so I can show you the feet. See a point of articulation there. And then this is where I'm really concerned, because you can get a full side thing, but on one of these sides, this whole setup right here with this side doesn't like, it must be the other side that doesn't like me, is where I felt like I was really gonna break something. But yeah, this side is super stiff. So I tried to go through and sand it down a little bit, but it be what it be. But you're really not going to have a whole lot of like business angling the foot that far. Like, what are you doing? I guess what I am going to do is, with the side skirts out, oh, nope, that was enough to pop it out. So let's pop it back in and see again how far that is. Huh, wait, did something just go awry? Perhaps so, because that's pretty damn good split. So I guess if you're really trying to do some splits, come on. At least it didn't break anything. That's what I'm afraid of, is actually breaking this, because this is kind of a non-replaceable scenario. You can do that. And let's try to, you can't get any waist articulation in there. But judo chop. And then, as seen previously, we need only replace a hand, which is a regular ball and socket scenario. I'm going to straighten him back up. Put this foot back in there. And then over here, I'm going to go ahead and replace this hand for more dynamic posing action. What is this telling me to do? Oh, okay. It's saying, the instructions are saying that for the real effect of Chodenji Robo, or Chodenji Yo-Yo back here, is you would want to take this side skirt and this shoulder piece off, but there's really like no need. But these are the same technical pieces with super robot stretching, because super robots, if you don't know your super robots, I urge you to go and do some research. Respect your roots. Know your roots. It's very important to know where your favorite giant robots came from and all of their tropes therein. how did Gurren Lagann get to that rising pose? Well, then you need to go watch Aim for the Top Gunbuster, so on and so forth. Because many of your favorite giant robots got their beginnings here. Especially Gundam, because Tomino did stuff before Gundam. So, let's go ahead and do one last thing before we call this a wrap. And we have Grand Dasher. Very, unappealing and uninspired, but this is the robot's, the move, the final move. It's between that and Chodenji Spark. Which, even without the lightning, without the Chodenji Yo-Yo, that is what this is for. All these effect parts over here. This is for Chodenji Spark, which you would zap out from the hands as such. Paralyze your foe and spin into him. Or maybe that's Voltes that does the spinning. But I digress. As much as I adore this, ZEON says pass on it. The price tag is barely not worth it. There's probably very few places where you can buy a full box set, like Gashpon blind box situation. I got mine from Hobby Search again, but it's expensive. The whole set was $70, and then there's shipping on top of that. Shipping from Japan. If you were to live in Japan, maybe, or if you go to a convention, maybe there's going to be a markdown on it. You might catch them at $15 a pop. So that's only $16, or $60, excuse me. And then, but you still have to buy all four. So it's only barely worth it. And for the super fan like myself, this is absolutely worth it. It's great. It's wonderful. It's the availability that puts it on the downside. It's not it's terrible, scrap it, but pass on it because of its price tag and difficulty to obtain. If you just so happen to get a hold of one or see one out in the wild, and you love Combattler V, if you love these classic giant robots, get in there, do it, recommended, absolutely, 100%, with those caveats. But I thank you for watching, and as always, SIEG ZEON.